Here's a good warm-up for you to try. So what I'd like you to do is come up with the equation in standard form of this cubic. That means that you need to multiply everything out. So I'm going to ask that you go ahead and do that, and that you will pause the video once you are attempting to do it. And then once you finish, you can just scroll to the end of where I have my answer, and if it's right, move on, and if it's not, then just watch the video from there. Okay, so pause the video now if that's what you're planning on doing. Okay, so in order to do this, I'm going to put in my zeros, x plus 1, and then x minus -3 minus 2i, x minus, again, -3 plus 2i this time. Keep the x plus 1 on the side, and then distribute the negative and regroup the parentheses. Now I have the difference of two perfect squares, where I have my a times my a, which is a plus 3 squared, and then I have my b times my b, which is -4i squared. The outer and the inner terms will cancel. So then I have x plus 1 squared, and this becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9, and then this becomes plus 4. So I get, oh, I don't know why I put a square there, sorry about that. So I get x plus 1 times x squared plus 6x plus 13. Now it's very important to realize that you do not just multiply this by the x plus 1 and then add 4. So what you want to do is you want to add 4 first, because all of that is in parentheses. Now I'm going to distribute the x to everything and the 1 to everything. And it says find an equation, so I'm going to set this equal to f of x. And actually, it really should say find an equation, because there are several equations. There's an infinite number of equations with this answer. Sorry, that gives you those zeros. Where am I? It's 18. It's 19, yeah. Okay, and that is the final answer. So we're going to learn something called direct variation. It's actually probably one of the easiest lessons that we'll learn all year. So the idea is that as x increases, so does y. Y varies directly as x. And the formula is just y equals some constant, a k is called the constant of variation, times x to a power. And some of the math problems that we know that already use this could be like a equals pi r squared. So this is like my y, and that's like my x, that's being raised to a power, and this is your k. That's a constant of variation, circumference as well. Well, no, I can leave it 2 pi r. I just was going to show you that sometimes we do pi d, but that's also your constant of variation. So there's a lot of problems that you've learned probably in science as well. Okay, but inverse variation, it means that as x gets bigger, y gets smaller. So that's why if it's inversely related, x goes in the denominator now. Trying to think, I know that there's some formula, it's something like this, and I probably have it wrong, but it's like the intensity of a light, you know what, and that bottom is a D, I just remembered. The intensity of a light, like if you hold a flashlight against a wall and you get super close to the wall, the light's really intense, but as you walk away, as your distance increases, as you walk away from the wall, the intensity of the light decreases. So that's what I mean by as one thing goes up, the other thing goes down. And likewise, as something goes down, the other thing goes up. So that's inverse variation with direct. As x goes up, so does y. So that means that as your radius gets bigger, for example, your area also gets bigger. Or if your radius gets smaller, your area gets smaller. So we just talked about an equation where that already happens. I'm just thinking, like, isn't there a force equals mass times acceleration? Yeah, we'll come back to something like that as well. So lots of different, if you think about all the formulas that you know from science, you could probably fit them in one category or the other. Now, joint variation means that two variables are working side by side. So for example, as x and z both increase, so does y. So joint variation means that y varies directly as both. A good example might be volume of a cylinder. So as both the radius increases and as the height increases, so does the volume. So those are just some examples. All right, so let's see which equation represents direct, inverse, or joint. So for this first one, we see that it's in the form y equals k times x to the n. So this is just going to be direct. In this one, it looks like it could be inverse because you know inverse is y equals k divided by x to the n, but it's got to be divided by x. So if you rewrite this equation, it's actually direct. If you plug in a value for x, for example, if I plug in 10 for x, I'm going to get 2 for y. If I plug in 20 for x, I'm going to get 4. So as x increases, y increases. But now for 3, if I solve for y, then I see that's actually going to be inverse. Okay, and then 4, both g and h are direct together, so that is joint. So now we're going to use words and convert it to an equation. And we use k as that constant of variation. So your problem always has to have a k in it. Just remember, you must always put a k in it. E varies jointly. Okay, so I'm going to say E equals, immediately put k. Jointly, that means both direct, as m and the square, not the square root, the square of v. Volume equals, you put in k. Directly as the temperature, and inversely as the pressure. So let me write that a little bit better. That's actually called combined variation. It's a little bit of both. The mass, okay, so I'm going to say m equals k. I just immediately start with that. Varies jointly, so both direct, with the length, the width, and the thickness of a block. P varies, so P equals, put in k, directly as the square of v, and inversely as r, another example of combined. So let's actually do some math examples. Again, I believe that this is one of the easier lessons that you'll have, but I do see it actually on usually like one question on the SATs and on mu alpha theta competitions. So if y varies inversely as x, so come up with, everybody write down the equation for that. Okay, that's usually step one. Step two is they're going to give you y and x. So what are you going to be finding? You're always finding the constant of variation first. By the way, if I make a mistake on here, just email me, and because I'm very likely to do that. So 2 equals k over 8. Solve for k. Step 3 is going to be to rewrite with k in it. You just absolutely rewrite the problem, just like that. And then step 4, solve the problem. Find x when y is 14. Okay, so I can multiply both sides by x, divide by 14. I get 16 over 14, which is just 8/7. I probably already made a mistake in this one. Hopefully I didn't and you get it. So I'm going to suggest that you just that you pause the video, try each problem, come back, look at the answer, move on if you got it. If not, listen to the video. Rewind it and listen. All right, so suppose y varies jointly as x squared and z. That's step 1. Step 2 is going to be find k. So I'm going to plug everything in. 20 equals k times 2 squared times 5. Solve for k. Oh, so it's just 1. Plug it back in with k. I don't need to write the 1. Step 4, plug everything in. Find y when x is 14 and z is 8. Okay, so I'm going to do what you're going to do. Go to the backpack, take out your calculator. Okay, so let's plug this in. Sorry, I have a new calculator that I'm testing out. All right, so 14 squared I know is 196 times 8. Assuming my calculator, my new one is right, this is the answer that I get, 1,568. Okay, let's move on. Again, as I said, pause the video. I'm going to change colors just to spice it up a bit. Ooh, really? Why did I do that? No perfect squares? Okay. Solve for K. Rewrite. And then plug in. This one looks so ugly. I would just reduce the 21 and the 42 would make it root 7 over 2. I probably just wanted you to get a little experience with the square root, so I don't know why I would have put that in there with it not coming out nicely. Okay, this one just puts the directions in the middle. I don't know, kind of goes backwards. I'd rather you leave your answer as fractions, reduced fractions. Oh, of course, now I say that and there's a decimal. So if they have a decimal in the problem, you can keep your answer as a decimal. I happen to know that's 3/2, so I can do this one without a calculator. I think I get -4. Okay, so now word problems. Oh my gosh, if you should feel lucky to get these word problems ever. They're so easy. The force of a wind blowing on a vertical surface. Okay, so force, just gotta like highlight all the important things. Blah, 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 varies jointly as the area, blah, 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 and the square of the velocity. Okay, so just write an equation based on that. Force equals, basically when it says varies, you write equals K. Jointly as the area of the surface and the square of the velocity. There's the equation. Okay, so now we're going to plug in, but you got to know what's what. If a wind blowing at 50 miles per hour, well, you need to know that that's speed, that's velocity, exerts a force of 75 pounds. So that means I'm going to go 75, oh, and there's your area, equals K, my area is 500, my velocity is 50. Oh, biggest mistake, do not forget to square it. I can't tell you how many people forget that. Okay, so let me do 75 divided by 500. You can do it a few different ways. Now divide it by 50 squared, which I think is 2,500. And I get a really small number, and I told you I'm using a new calculator. I don't know how to convert that to a fraction on here. That stinks. First complaint. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to just write down that K is 0.12346. Okay. Then how much force? So force equals K. Area is 10, 75 miles per hour. Well, that turns off really fast. Okay, then times 10. Oh my God, I can't even find the times button on here. There it is. Times 75 squared. I hope that you all are getting 3.375. And you want to make that, you want to watch your units, so it's pounds. So I'll write that down. Those of you from another country, that is the abbreviation for pounds. You can write out pounds, LBS. I think it actually might be like Spanish for like Libro. Am I totally wrong on that? Maybe, I don't know. All right, the volume of a can varies jointly as the height and the square of its radius. Okay, we actually knew that. Oh, watch what's going to happen here. But we have to make pretend we don't know K. Varies jointly as the height of the can and the square of its radius. A can with an 8-inch height. Oh, so they give me the volume. I'm going to plug in the volume. Don't know K. 8-inch height. Don't forget to square your radius. Let's plug in. Not a good time to test out a new calculator. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. 402.12. And you can multiply the two numbers first. I'm just going to divide by 8 and then divide by 16. Look what I get. K is 3.141563 because it's rounded. So basically, really, K is pi. What's the volume of a can? I'm just going to write pi. That has a height of 10 and 2 the radius. And you can just write that as 40 pi if you want. Or if you wanted to, you can just multiply that by 40 and get 125 point, let's just say 7. And that's going to be inches cubed. Time required to process a shipment, so time equals K, varies directly with the number of items and inversely with the number, oh, both of those are numbers. So I'm actually going to change that to be with the number of items and inversely with the number of workers, just so I don't get confused. If 15,000 items can be processed by 8 workers in 10 hours. Okay, so let's solve for K. Oh, okay, I do get a fraction here. All right, and I would recommend you keep the fraction because otherwise you're going to be rounding twice, once for K and once the final answer. How long would it take, so let me put T down, or K down, 12 workers, that goes in the bottom, to process 20,000 items. So take your answer K right on your calculator, multiply it by 20,000, divided by 12. And I get, I guess since it's time, maybe I'll just say it's 8.9 hours, but it was 80 over 9. This was in hours, right? Yes. Okay, and the last problem. A person's level of fatness is measured by the BMI, rounded to the nearest whole number in the low 20s is desirable. BMI, so I'll just call it B, varies directly as a person's weight and inversely to the square of their height. Did you know that? A person who weighs 140 pounds, okay, so I'm going to say 20 equals 140, 70 inches tall. So let's figure that out. We'll figure out what K is. Ooh, nice. I get 700. Find the BMI of a person who weighs 165 pounds and is 71 inches tall. And I'm getting their BMI to be 22.9. I don't think there's any units on the BMI. It says just 20. Oh, and notice that actually it says that the BMI, you always round to the nearest whole number. So 23 is your final answer, and that's it. All right, so I think you're ready to start your homework.